I am someone who is currently considered very attractive, but I haven't always been attractive. In fact, I was morbidly obese most of my life. I went from 240 to 110 pounds in 2 years with a strict diet and exercise plan. Here is what I've noticed after losing the weight. Advantages. 1. I get complimented frequently by strangers. Rarely does a day go by where someone doesn't compliment my appearance. Due to this being a daily occurrence, compliments mean little to nothing to me anymore. I have grown to accept them as a part of me living in a world where beauty is idolized, and I am more surprised if someone doesn't acknowledge my looks in some way. I have been in an accident and have been pulled over twice, and have never gotten a ticket. Had I gotten a ticket for all of the violations listed, I would have most likely gotten my license suspended by now. 2. There is a strange immediate gratification that I get when others acknowledge my presence more quickly or stop to absorb my features. Over the years, I no longer really notice this, nor does it give me the same level of satisfaction. Even so, I still enjoy knowing the effect I have on other people. Yes, people offer me their place in line. 3. It is infinitely easier to get a man to respond to my advances. While other women pore over women's magazines for advice on how to attract their love interest, I don't really ever have to try. Unfortunately, interest in another is heavily influenced by the visual aspect of it. And as soon as a guy figures out that I have a decent personality and a brain to match, they fall to their feet. There aren't many average-looking girls who can beat a beautiful girl in getting the object of their affection. To this day, I have never been genuinely interested in a guy without him being interested back. 4. Women were nicer to me, not men. Men would hold the doors open and do other polite things, but when it came down to dating or meeting random guys at bars, they seemed to have attitudes with me, as if they half expected me to be a stuck-up bitch to them or something. Women from my work, however, started inviting me out more frequently, wanting to get to know me more, etc. Guys actually hit on me less at bars, maybe because they thought I would turn them down. Either way, I remember having a lot more one-night stands as a fatty. 5. I got promoted. Then I got another job where I got hired for a position I wasn't even qualified for. I got the hours I wanted and the days off too. Life became easier. Previously, I'd work Christmas, Thanksgiving, overtime, my days off, and I'd never get the raises I asked for. 6. When guys invited me out, at times I would be told to bring friends for their friends. So I would bring my friends. They would be disappointed. Most of my friends did not look like supermodels. They are heavy girls and are still my lifelong friends. I think most guys assume that hot girls only hang out with other equally hot girls, and these guys were horny jerks that just wanted to bang. This brings me to my next point. 7. I get treated like an object. Often, I am used to it now, and I write it off, but guys see girls like me as an accessory, and I'm far too outspoken to be somebody's eye candy. 8. I feel expected to be basic. I'm an outdoorsy, grungy backpacker. I like camping, not wearing makeup, CrossFit, and other masculine activities. A lot of the men I've dated are taken aback, and other girls I associate with seem to think the key to attracting a man here in Orange County, California, is to do my hair perfectly even at the gym, always have perfect gel manicured nails, designer clothes, and to not talk too much and give simple answers when dating. I feel like I'm supposed to look like a Barbie and act like a deaf mute. Before, I relied heavily on my personality to make friends and date. Now it seems like it's frowned upon because I have to make them work for it. And the kinds of guys that want to go out with a girl like me are not looking for good conversation as much as they are looking for a pretty lady to accompany them to parties. 9. I have more opportunities. It's amazing, really. Now that I'm almost 30 and I've been thin for about 7 years, I've noticed that with age, both men and women alike treat me with respect. It is easier to meet people, go places, and get help in times of need. It's pretty crazy how many people have stopped to try to help me when I was traveling abroad just because I looked lost. And someone once called me an Uber when my phone was dead and I lost my friends outside of a crowded bar. One time when my tire popped on the street, a guy driving behind me went out of his way to help me change the tire and offered to call III in case the spare didn't work. Disadvantages. 1. Public commodity for people to fling criticism. This is rarely mentioned, but as soon as the world considers you attractive, you become a public commodity for people to fling criticism at. While most people go through their days without anyone pointing out their apparent flaws, people find it more acceptable to go up to an attractive woman and point out that she has mascara on her eyelid or could benefit from losing a couple of pounds. 2. Because you rarely experience rejection from the opposite sex. When a guy isn't attracted to you as well, It becomes flat out confusing. From my understanding, this as a whole is a drag for anyone to go through. However, solely using my perspective, it's more confusing than disheartening, as in, you would never have expected them to not be attracted to you. It's a weird, distorted form of reality that you live with as you learn to accept that looks, albeit important, are far from the only factor that influence attraction. People consistently attempt to undermine you and assume that you're stupid. How could you possibly care about international affairs and CRISPR technology when Bath and Body Works is about to discontinue their warm vanilla and sugar-scented candles? Even when repeatedly proven wrong, it is still continuously difficult to earn the respect of your colleagues and classmates as a potential intellectual adversary. With intelligent, attractive women, it is especially common for me to observe her begin to state an opinion and be followed by a chain of smirks, as she continues on to the delineations of her ideas and proves that she, gasps, is not incompetent. The smirks generally disappear and turn into scowls or looks of confusion. 3. Walking into a room, girls will take immediate note of your presence and many of them will resent you for your attractiveness. Rushes of jealousy become visible on their faces, and you are met with everything from glares, smirks, and bitterness. Of course, the majority of women will not show cattiness and will simply continue with their day. Nevertheless, the aforementioned women can make day-to-day living insufferable. Which brings me to my next point. 4. Insecure and jealous women love to see you fail. 5. They patiently wait for you to make a mistake so that they can ravenously feed on the fact that you are, indeed, not a perfect human being. Very few will actively try to sabotage you, but this does not take away from the fact that women like this do exist. 6. If you have friends who are not as attractive as you but still comfortable hanging out, this fact always uncomfortably looms over their heads. Though it may not be present when you're alone hanging out, it becomes more readily apparent when all of the stares in public are aimed at you. 7. The staring. As much as people dream of walking into a room and all eyes being on them, maintaining an image of artificial glossiness for people to bask in is exhausting. Most of the time, I just want to be a human being. Stop staring at me while I'm just trying to buy tampons. 8. Dating can also become more difficult. Another unsettling fact is that the majority of attractive people want to date other attractive people. It's a phenomenon that has been observed that although there are real exceptions, gorgeous women who may date an average or below average looking man, for the most part, people like to date within their league. Try adding my personal characteristics of intelligence, a bold personality, atheism, feminism, etc. to the list, and all of a sudden my dating pool all but completely evaporates. 9. Friends, even close ones, are a lot more likely to closely inspect your actions around their significant others in order to make sure that you aren't attempting to seduce them. For many women, you becoming the tempting vixen silently luring their husbands or boyfriends away. 10. Men won't approach you out of intimidation. The men who do are the ones who do so with the goal of sex in their minds. In this society, your attractiveness now makes you a trophy for others to polish off, put on their bedroom nightstand, and parade around. Even boyfriends who have grown to care about you for reasons other than the physical do not hesitate to display them with you as a way to show off their masculinity and attractiveness to other people. Though there is nothing wrong with being proud of your partner, there is an inherent aspect of objectification that comes along with displaying your girlfriend as evidence of how badass you are. 11. Men who end up liking you tend to obsess over you if the feeling is not reciprocated. Some will go out of their way to constantly harass you over social media. Others will quietly hate you from across the room, and others will become a danger to you. I ended up having to get a restraining order from a guy who plotted to rape and murder me. 12. Your friends are, for the most part, jealous of you. Your true friends recognize this as a natural human emotion and either stifle it or do not let it run over into their loyalties. People getting to know you find it easy to quickly hate you once they realize that you're articulate as well as attractive. As soon as you possess a few of the traits most valued by our society, beauty, intelligence, a sense of humor, etc., you have officially become the target of fuming resent. Your job is now to work around that and try to not do anything to further aggravate the problem. Overall, it's a very interesting experience that permeates your life as a whole. The irony of a society that attempts to accept all individual human appearances as beautiful while maintaining this culture of idolizing the conventionally beautiful is never lost on me. Ultimately, people notice you more and care more about pleasing you. But often there is a string attached. People assume you are snooty, too good for them, or that you've always had things handed to you. Not the case for me. I worked my ass off to get where I am. I am far from stuck up and I'm attracted to good personalities rather than hot bodies. The drastic changes, however, are still very eye-opening to me to this day.